Um, I got my 7 that I would vote if I had a vote.
Okay.
So I'm gonna jump into who I probably would vote, and then tell you why. I guess, or I'll do the 7 first, and then
You're
we.
doing your 7 most likely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So first, the Young Bucks. I don't think that's any kind of major surprise. I thought it was a travesty of the institution. They didn't go in first ballot last year. 55% last year, 5% away. You would think they would go in this time. You can add some more pay per view business to their resume. You can add probably another Tag Team of the Year award, but I don't think.
The Sting final match.
Yep, I don't think anybody is basically being won over that isn't like they're not voting on the Young Bucks' accomplishments or their matches or their merch or their credentials in any form.
Right.
They are voting with the fact that they resent these guys for being responsible for starting the true alternative in America. The television deal, like all this shit rolls back up to the Young Bucks at the end of the day. Um, I think that, quite frankly, if they don't get in, Dave needs to burn the institution to the ground if they don't get in this year. And last year, you could have argued
They
that.
should have got in last year. Stupid. Like everybody, like all the original EVP should have got it. Should get in first ballot. What are we talking about? What's there to discuss? Especially now that there's the TV deal happen. I'm sorry. The third TV deal.
Yeah.
This is the third TV deal.
Yeah. And, it's like retired wrestlers are on them, retired professionals, different stuff like that. This entire block did not vote for them last year. So it's amazing the data that we have to look at where, because it's like, all right, we know what's influencing this and just how stupid it is, and they just have to keep banging their head up against this. Hopefully they don't have to do this anymore, and then we can go ahead and do our victory laps and celebrate Matt and Nick Jackson for being the all-timers that they are. Oh, also their new contracts where they got the most money ever for a tag team. I don't know, man. Like, that was their last year. Sorry. But yeah, Dave should blow the institution up if the Bucks don't get in. I'm voting for Goldberg. I'm a Goldberg voter. I know it's only, you know, a short amount of time, and he came back with his old man runs in 2017 and after that. But this guy's a fucking phenomenon, and sometimes you just gotta reward a phenomenon because if you weren't there to like experience it, trust the people that were. Like, and he's as popular as anybody or as over as anybody ever was in the history of wrestling, like according to Arn Anderson. Like, so, you know, I'm just thinking about like, what
During one of the
Goldberg
hottest
was.
years of North American pro wrestling, he was at worst the second hottest wrestler.
Yeah. So like,
He's the second hottest wrestler in 1998. Sorry. So I'm not like I don't know if I'd vote for him, but like anyone like scoffing at like the idea that he should have a be considered is like, nah, man, you're out of your mind.
also a vote for Goldberg is a vote for WCW. So,
Ugh.
I'm gonna go ahead and reward them there. Up next for me would be John Moxley. I think already this guy was shafted. I think he only got like he was in the teens last year. I remember arguing with people in the VOW forums. Like there's a Hall of Fame chat that people were mortified that I would take into consideration that this guy has won 2 Flair Thez awards. Like, how the fuck is he not in? Like, in acting like it was some absurd concept to not think the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards should factor in to the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame. Like,
Yeah,
and
it'd be
meanwhile,
like saying,
nobody
hey,
else has done this that
right,
that isn't in.
right, like the Bill Simmons pyramid is like I think the rule is like nobody can be below a level 4 out of the higher you go up the level, the more elite you are. Like level 5 is Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Level 4 is like Scottie Pippen. Level 3 is like let's see, someone like Paul Pierce, right?
Mm-hmm.
The high, like I think his rule is like unless something tragic happened, you MVP, someone ever wins MVP in the 78-year history of the NBA. If you win MVP, you cannot be below like level 4 unless something tragic happened. Like Derrick Rose would be someone who like, oh, he won league MVP. He's not level 4,
Right.
because his bad knees and then his career completely altered, right? Like for John Moxley to post WWE be one of the two handfuls of best wrestlers of the time since then, that says something. 5 years is a long fucking time in wrestling. So he would have my vote. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He would have my vote. He had my vote 2 years ago.
Yeah. I think he went on last year. But I think he might have fell off once. But yeah, like this guy, like him jumping, I think was such a shock to the system and basically like should kind of be preserved of his importance. Because
he should get kind of EVP status I was talking about earlier because of this. It's like he became the ace of this company that got that became the second biggest pro wrestling promotion ever. That's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
The guy that became the ace over a 5-year span, the person you would point to be the ace over a 5-year span, it became the most like successful pro wrestling company ever. Isn't a Hall of Famer? What?
And like people can like bang that under historical significance. Let's talk about this guy as a worker. How about that? Like because I know some people would look at necessarily like there'll always be like the Shield members, right? And Seth Rollins will be looked at as the work rate guy amongst them. I'm here to tell you, you pull up their cage match pages, and you tell me who's actually putting numbers on the board, like.
Yes. Especially since he left for AEW New Japan.
Yeah, like I think this guy is like I haven't been thrilled with his work this year, but like when you lay his career down on paper so far, it's like I don't need to see anymore. Like this guy has already likely done the best work he's ever gonna do. He's already put it on the board right
and
now.
Not being thrilled with his work is in comparison to what he did the first 4 years in AEW.
Right.
That's where we're kind of like this on the New Japan Championship run. And then like I'm sure if I looked up the match ratings, like, oh, I mean he's having a decent year, but he was having MVP caliber years 4 years in a row.
I believe he's the first guy to be the WWE, AEW, and the IWGP champion.
That's crazy.
So that sounds like a Hall of Famer to me.
Yeah. Kind of.
Breaking my 1-year ban on voting for him, CM Punk. So CM Punk in the last year, I want to say, yeah, because like it all timed up perfectly. So like he has not wrestled that many matches, and he has not wrestled or cut that many great promos, and it has been like kind of weird anything that I've seen him do. But I think he's a Hall of Famer still, like because like, all right, this guy's still like a monster business mover.
Yep.
A quarter-hour draw, and he is for the negative influence, and I think we should like that should not get lost because I think a lot of people will look at him and be like, yeah, it's just great, but there was a negative influence to this guy, but like it turns out it wasn't strong enough. As far as like to doom AEW, the perception of him and stuff like that, but just laying it down on his own work. This guy was, he was the lightning rod at the beginning of last decade. He had, probably like the first 6 months in AEW was as strong as anything there. And, looking at his era, like he was better than a lot of guys that are, passing through on that thing. So, personally, like I don't really care for the guy and, whatever, but like I would still vote for him.
Yep, I would have voted for him last year. So nothing changed. Like, look, even even that fucking SummerSlam match, even
That shit was terrible.
that shit was awful. And then he came back for Hell in a Cell and was like, "All right, James, I understand your ass. I got something for you." He's like, all right. So yeah, man, yeah, he definitely is someone I would have voted for. I would vote for as well. Now it's gonna get interesting because like there are two people that are on here that I would, or there's one person on here that like I we have talked about ain't there. I think he's probably there now.
I got three more. So
Okay.
I got Roman Reigns
Yep.
on my
That's who I was
list.
talking about.
And
Yep.
I don't think I would have voted for him in the past. And it's not like he's put up substantially more work because he's, this guy barely wrestles ever.
Part-time.
So,
Yep.
but they were popping absurd quarter hours.
Mm-hmm.
And he did get completely swallowed by The Rock in this build this past year. But you throw another WrestleMania main event under, his belt with, a huge money gate on it.
His second great one he's ever had.
Yeah.
He's never mind. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, but I think it's just the numbers have added up too far for Roman Reigns, and he sucked for a lot of his career. Like I think, and it was just like failure after failure after failure, and then like eventually all these years and all this data stacks up, and then it's just too much to deny at this point. So I would vote for Roman Reigns begrudgingly.
Yeah, I think the years that stand out for him in the ring is 2016. But yeah, man, like the stuff he's done with at different parts of this mob boss run, tribal chief run, stuff with Cesaro, stuff with Danielson, the stuff with Cody. Those are things that stand out. The stuff in between, they definitely were popular. People were definitely into it. It was the biggest thing in the industry. But I think a lot of that stuff was formulaic and stunk. But that's my opinion. People love that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of a lot of the wrestling that he's done of late. Like,
yeah. Regardless of my opinion on it, the people love it. He comes out now, during these matches in the last year or post WrestleMania, and when he comes out, bro, they react as if Jesus himself is came out. So yeah, man, it's there, and I'm also doing this in anticipation of whatever thing he has with Rock, whatever thing rematch eventually he has with Cody down the line or whatever else, it's all set up for him. Like, so if you was a person that's holding your hands on this stuff from the stuff that when Vince was pushing him like shit as a shitty babyface to be a John Cena replacement in the late to mid 2010s, I get it. The tribal chief thing is now at this point where like it's undeniable. It's done so much business. Like he's one of the few things that actually stands out on its own aside from the machine of WWE. So for me, yeah, I put him, after that match with Cody, regardless of how ridiculous I think all the run-ins were, him and Cody wrestled their ass off until the bullshit machine started happening. But the bullshit machine went to overdrive, and the people that love that shit have it as one of the greatest matches of all time. Not knocking for it. I enjoyed the hell out of that match. I laughed at the shit they loved, but whatever. The match went. And so yeah, like for me, whether it's this year or next year or whatever else, after the whatever monumental success they have from 2 nights of WrestleMania in Vegas or whatever else, with doing the Rock thing finally, it's gonna become undeniable for everybody at some point. Even Josh Smith from Keeping It Strong Style.
So the next person I think is
who will tell you all about the Road Warriors.
So the next person I think is a categoric fake. I believe nothing that comes out of his mouth under any circumstances, and I think is a 100% phony most of the time. But Cody Rhodes, come to the stage.
Yeah, him too. He's definitely on this. He definitely should be in.
Yeah. So like, obviously you get the points for the AW forefather or founding father.
Yep.
It went bad there at the end. But
I mean, I think it went longer than bad for the end. I think it went bad for the last
about
year and
halfway
change.
through. Yeah.
Yeah. That look, QT Marshall feud. What the fuck going on? What's happening? Why is this on my screen?
You know,
Who is this for?
hey man, when you take yourself out the mix, who you left to work with? Your friends. But since going back to WWE, he's been pushed pretty much flawlessly, aside from beating him the first year at WrestleMania, which I still think he should have just won off the rip.
He did that job to The Rock in night one this year.
There's that too.
And I don't know if he gets a match with The Rock, okay, cool. You think he get a match with The Rock?
Who knows?
I think Rock finna do two singles matches at this stage of the game.
Like, we always kind of wondered, like, when, like, now I don't understand why people cheer him at all. When I look at, like, the presentation of his character, when I look at, like, this guy wearing a fucking suit being a kiss ass to the management, who calls out the management to the ring after, way beyond my comprehension.
Well, that's because the management ain't Vince McMahon no more. Batman gone, Rich. Batman gone. That's what that is.
He also
Batman
called out.
Batman gone. Triple H gonna save everybody. He gonna
Nick
fix
Khan
everything.
was out there. Who was
corporate? You say?
Look, Nick Khan. He called him out too. And look, that man's name is on papers right now.
Is he corporate officer number 1? Right?
Yes. Yeah. So like, everything about him as a wrestler and a babyface, I do not like or understand or get. Too successful doing this, and it's just like, throw my hands up, like, like I think some of the promo stuff is kind of funny and goofy and stuff like that, but this guy at the end of the day is a worker who will lie to you at about anything
at any turn,
at any given time.
He will be in AEW. He'll be in AEW until his favorite wrestler all the time is Sting, and then show back up WWE and say his favorite wrestler all the time was Triple H.
It's amazing. Like, I see the
guy. He will get on live camera from an AEW television, and it's talk about post-racial Atlanta.
Absurd. But he has my boy Floyd Johnson's heart, so I guess that's worth something.
That ain't why I'm voting for him. Look, if this was 3 years ago, I'd be like, I'm sorry, that's in the back. It was like, look, man, he's getting in. I have to vote for him just because he, found a father AEW. That's historical, whatever else. That last year AEW, I mean, I'm sure Floyd. I'm not even going to assume Floyd would be like, hey man, you why are you going so hard on my dog? He would even be like, hey man, what's going on? Why is 1H Radio lighting Cody Rhodes ablaze every single week? I know he dreaded listening to 1H Radio doing that go-go shit. Oh my god.
Yeah. But he's going to WWE, and he was different in a way to where he stood out head and shoulders above anybody they had, which at the end of the day, he actually proved this show right from the old days, who we one day said he would be at the top of this promotion.
Yeah. All it took was him to leave and then start another one.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes, you made me right. That's right. Kiss the ring, because it was me who saw the vision. Me. I'm not voting for you as much as I'm voting for myself for the Hall of Fame for having the vision.
Wow.
Yeah, throw that in there.
So,
and I got one more.
Man, one more? Okay.
I'm going with Paul Orndorff. Old guy from the 80s, did a whole bunch of business with Hulk Hogan that just gets lost to history because it didn't culminate at WrestleMania.
I was going to ask you, how much do you think that hurt him?
A whole fucking bunch. So around the time, instead of Paul Orndorff getting a WrestleMania match, it goes to fucking King Kong Bundy. He was also in the main event of WrestleMania 1 that nobody ever talks about. And he was, for his time, he was a really good wrestler. Now, I think it's just been too long for him not to be in the ballot, be in the Hall of Fame. It's like, hold on, Paul Ordner's not in here. So that's kind of why I would vote. This would be a correction. They'd be like, nah, we got to clean this up.
Gotcha. Okay, so I agree with you on 5 of them for sure, right? The 5 would be the Young Bucks, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and John Moxley. So those be the 5 I agree on. Now I have 2 that differ from you. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen. I know. I'm gonna hate doing it while I say it. If this motherfucker Randy Orton tricks them into another title run, like how he did in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to consider it. I think you got to consider it. Now, I'm not saying that like, you know, if anyone's saying fuck no, I'm not voting for Ron Samos' career. He was a talented, lazy head case. I'm not doing it. I ain't gonna argue with you. I have no comments for your comments. I agree with you. I just think that like the body of work is overwhelming for somebody that's been around that long. And I also have a thing for like WWE guys where it's like he was in that era where like you can't pull numbers out unless you're John Cena, or at this point now where you're Roman Reigns and you have your whole family, you're running an entire family tree storyline. So it's like, all right, man, if we just not gonna vote nobody from WWE in,
they have it.
WWE lifer, then all right. But I think like we gotta kind of get off of that because they're hiding the numbers. So yeah, I would have Orton as that, and then you know Becky Lynch, same argument as last year. Is like she became actually for a short time somebody actually moved numbers. Somebody was actually the top star in the company that wasn't a man, and that's insane. And we're at a point where she's, you know, like a lot of guys like AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, were like they're with the company, and because Bad Man gone, they don't have to be on the road all the time. They can pick spots. And I think it's for the best for people to have long term importance as opposed to just being around, sticking around forever.
I consider voting for her in the future, but like as it stands, like right now, I think I just got other people that I think I'd rather vote for now.
Gotcha.
And I say it because like I don't know the historical significance, so like because it felt like they changed some shit, right? Like in real time, right? But now that we're like past it, right? Like the 4 horsewoman era is kind of over.
Yeah.
And we see like what they've reverted to, kind of, and it's like
I'm with you, but I'm also pointing out like, all right, well, who's the person that gave Bianca Belair her big wins? It was Becky and Sasha. So, like, for me, it's like those two made somebody. Like, you can't say that about the other 2 horsewomen. They didn't make nobody. They beat people that were already really talented. No knock against them. They're great, but like there is a certain thing to this. And like, you know, who knows what would have happened if they hadn't done the stupid 3-way at WrestleMania 35, whatever else. But it's like that was what people wanted to see. And the company said, absolutely the fuck not. We're throwing this one woman in here that we've wanted to be the person for since 2004 or 15 and whatever.
Yeah, so like I feel like I need a little bit more from Becky Lynch if I'm gonna throw somebody out currently that I'm thinking about.
I think honestly there's 5 locks and everything else is gonna be like you can pick and choose what you want after that, honestly.
So I think the Briscoes are gonna do really well. For the public ballots I'm seeing like have them ahead of the Young Bucks right now. Now that wouldn't be my case to do it, but the way I'm seeing these votes coming in, they're probably going to do very well.
That's insane. Like, don't get me wrong, like, as far as the in-ring quality quotient of it, like, or portion of it, like, yeah, there are 10 out of 10 as far as the in-ring stuff. The other part, as far as the draw stuff, there's nothing there. Right. Honestly.
Right. Like, there's like...
And if there's anything there is working with who, Rich?
The Young Bucks.
Right.
But like, if this was like the Bret Hart Wrestle score, like the Young Bucks would be like 30 of 30. Like it would be like 10, 10, 10. Historically significant business wrestling. Like that's Edge. Now, I think Edge is in that next wave, along with like Becky Lynch for me or
Yeah.
Randy Orton, where it's like,
Yeah.
I want to vote for other people more. I
Right.
don't know if I can
Have another
quantify
run.
you.
Have another run.
Right. It's like I don't know how to quantify your business metrics. You like if somebody else was in your spot, things could have been the same kind of.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would you put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn into that category? You put them one below.
I feel like they're in the same category.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking too. That's how I feel too.
Samoa Joe.
Joe might be somebody we're just overlooking.
I think so. I think he might have a shot in the future. The only
like there are probably people screaming at us like you like you oh my god, you have no idea how good Samoa was. Like, oh my god, you have no idea how good Samoa Joe was. And look, bro. We love fucking Samoa Joe. He should have been the WWE champion in 2017. Should have been. They fucked it up.
They fucked it up. They could have put the belt on him. When they beat him, the interest in the promotion dipped.
Went down.
So those are good arguments.
Thumbs went down.
Those are good arguments for him, and I'm more than willing to hear those out in the coming years. Like, he is not someone that'll write off forever.
And he did a great fucking job as transitional champion in the AEW World Championship this year.
Yeah.
He wiped the doo-doo off the belt. Actually, I can't say why dude. He threw that belt out, that Burberry shit, and then brought back the rule. So yeah he restored the feeling.
Yeah. Oh, Matt and Jeff Hardy, I just wouldn't do it. I'm sorry. If I can't pull up a regular rules match of yours and you're a tag team that I find that is like, some classic match, it always has to be some weapons match or always has to be some type of ladder match. They never really headlined too much. I don't know. I don't think I'd vote for them.
The only thing you could say is like if you vote for the Hardys, that means you're voting for Jeff.
And you're voting for Matt too, because like
I mean, as far as like the drawing thing of like he had a real shot to be a real main event guy for the company, and they screwed it up, or they both screwed it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like Jeff's never going to get in, so you vote for Jeff by himself. Never get in, so you vote for the Hardys, and then you do the vote for Jeff as a singles act and as a tag team totality thing or whatever else. So I can see people doing that, and also like as far as influence, very influential for the next crop of guys, or whatever else. Like like the young Bucks aren't really that much of a thing without the Hardys. That's the thing. It's absolutely true. So I can see them getting big votes for influence.
Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, of course, they were part of the NWO and WWE, but it's not enough for me.
I don't think of them as a tag team, honestly, even though they obviously were. But my point is, like, when I think of Scott Hall and I think of Kevin Nash, I think of them separately. I don't think of them as the same outside of, they did, change the business.
Yeah.
Dummy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's absurd to say it, but at the same time, like, I watched these guys. Like, one was like, I understand they were a tag team, but it's like, besides Bastard Beach 96, points me another significant like tag team match they had. And they were tag teams a bunch of times, but they threw the fucking tag belts in the trash.
Yeah. If I had to give you some outsiders matches, they wrestled
Let me guess,
Steiners a bunch of times. I don't think there's a notable Luger and Sting versus Nash and Hall pay-per-view match. That might have just been some stuff they were doing in a Nitro. But they wrestled Harlem Heat for the belts. And they were more like a hot duo together throughout the summer of '96 to where they just had the motion or whatever, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But like, it's not that long a time. Eventually, like, they started splitting them up. Hall started having problems. No, I'm not.
Right, like the big dramas around like them potentially breaking up.
Look, and I am someone that is prone to give out WCW votes, but no.
Yeah.
Randy Orton for me. I would have thought he would have been able to sell more than 1,500 tickets in St. Louis this year when he got added on.
It's
CM
still
Punk,
more than Charlotte that one time. Did Charlotte add like 400 tickets, some shit like that?
man,
There wasn't no time Roman Reigns couldn't even put in like what
it was the
year?
Garden, but this is his
Okay.
hometown. This is his hometown, and like literally the week before they put CM Punk in Chicago and he sold tickets or whatever, and it was the first week of the NXT show being on television. So I was like, so why did they have to move Randy Orton to the smaller building? So I don't know. I know it's a stupid anecdotal fact. I can hear Josh Smith now, but I'm like, why does this, like, if this guy is the guy that everyone tells me he is?
No. The guy that everyone tells you is WWE people telling you this guy's the best worker I've ever seen. They're fucking lying.
It's just absurd. Like I no, like.
Like, bro, like his biggest thing is he like skill wise. You watch him wrestling, you're like, oh my god,
he's a bad guy, James. He is a bag guy. And what is the goal, James? It's not the bag. It's to put the ball in the hole. He doesn't put the ball in the hole, James.
Okay, I get what you mean now. I was like, wait, a bad guy? Like, at first he said bag. I'm like, are you about to talk about like him shitting that bag that one time? But yeah, he is absolutely bad guy. Like the skills compared to like, hey man, wins and losses. He's definitely in that category. He's definitely in that category. He's like, bro, fuck them skills. How good are the matches?
This was always the argument that I had that I was never able to articulate until recently.
Until basketball finally figured out, was like, man, he can do this, do that. Cool. Does he make it easier for your team to stop or put the ball in the basket? Does he make your team get easier shots and make the other team have harder shots? Yes or no?
So
right. Cross, tween, cross. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
I like seeing that stuff too, but when it don't go in, who gives a fuck?
Trish Stratus, never in my life would I vote for her.
Not a thing. Not a thing. I know another one is immediate write-off. R.I.P.
Bray Wyatt.
Absolutely not a shit. Hey,
never in my life.
Pull up the clip. We did it. And look, posthumously won worst match.
This man has won worst match of the year or worst feud in the Observer so many times. Like, I don't know if this is ironic by like listening to him on here. Like, is this on the up and up? Like,
he's on there because he sold a lot of merchandise. He's very popular. He during the Fiend stuff, he did move some quarter hours. Whatever. But he's one of the worst wrestlers I've ever seen.
Yeah. Rest in peace. But Rick and Scott.
No harm against him. I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm not trying to speak on the dead. I'm talking about what you did when he was there. Look, like,
I've got
the job is the job. The objective is the objective. He failed the objective over and over and over again.
I would be betraying the integrity and the history of this show if I turned around today and said I think this is a Hall of Fame wrestler.
Rich, you just talked about a radio right? Bad guy. This is not part of the bag. Super charismatic, great promo. Bell ring, nothing there. Bad feud after bad feud. Only person that ever got any benefit from him working with anybody was himself.
Yeah.
Has some of the worst matches of all time. Bad guy.
Can't disagree.
What's the objective?
Can't disagree.
He ruined Seth Rollins and babyface for you ever.
He ruined Seth Rollins' career for me.
There you go. You went a step further. There you go. Yeah. There you
go. Rick and Scott Steiner, unfortunately, no. I love them as a team. I know a lot of people were voting for the Steiners, but they're gonna have to wait for me.
They'll do well with he'll do well with like the current crop of wrestlers and the old timers as far as influence, but there's somebody I'll be willing to look over. Like, I'm sure Josh will give me some retrospective to give you or give us a better idea. But
they fucking rule. Like,
yeah, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
they were one of those tag. I think they're my favorite tag team growing up, honestly. But yeah, man, I think also a lot of stuff is like they did so much stuff other places, in Japan and everything. So like that,
they were
ready
really
to get them to move whatever they wanted to. Like I think they were caught in that era where it's like if they had showed up 5 years earlier, they'd be in. If they showed up 5 years later, they might still be in. I think they got in that spot where it's like they're really talented, but WCW is a fucking mess. Jim Herd fucked them up. Like he fucked up everything else. But you know my point.
Jimmy and Jay Uso.
You know what I was surprised when I looked at today or the other day? I went to look for over the weekend. I was talking to one of my friends at the gym that that watches wrestling, and she was like, I can never tell the Usos apart. And I was like, a lot of people are like that. I get it, but I can tell them apart because one of them's good, and the other one is another one I'm just violently jealous of, right? So then I was like, let me, because she knows we do the show, so I was like, let me see if I can send a clip of when we fucking killed Yeetism. We didn't clip up Yeetism.
Oh no,
I was disappointed. That would have did numbers. Oh man, because that shit was sad. That's one of the worst well-built matches ever. And yeah, man. So after that, nah, man. Look, I'm not gonna write them off forever because they had the opportunity to. They're about to tag team again, and we'll judge them as a tag team. But separately, absolutely the fuck not. They still got some time though, and they've been involved in the gigantic storyline, so that's definitely gonna benefit them. Like if they do the bloodline, like the whole thing for months.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes.
It's a no.
They're in there because GOD's a good ass tag team, and Jacob Fatu's gonna be out there. I think they're gonna try to not have the trios match, and it's not be like the nonsense they've been doing these Samoans pay-per-view main events. It's gonna be like them trying to have a real match.
So
we'll see.
So it's a no for me right now.
Yeah.
I'm kicking them down the road and be like, all right, I need to see how the bloodline thing wraps up kind of as a staff, record label, and crew, if it ever does. And then we can properly evaluate their role in it. Yeah. And then we've got, the rest of their career, which, we all know the story on it. Sideline. Yep. Like, so, and Sid Vicious.
No. I know you finna go hold on. Before you go and say what you want to say, preface it by being like, it's no. At least be like, it's no, but
yeah, it's no, but
okay.
This motherfucker rules.
Yes.
He's the master of the rule of the world.
Yes. Hall of Awesome, not Hall of Fame. Yes.
And then it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as individuals.
Yeah.
I want to kick him down the road. I'm too much of a coward to put him on now. Yeah. I need to see how their careers keep playing out.
Right. Look, bro. There's another evil motherfucker heel run out of Kevin Owens is there. There's another one, and it's gonna be spectacular when it happens.
So those are my thoughts and our thoughts on the Observer Hall of Fame. Did we say Asuka?
We didn't really talk about it because we know that's not going to be a thing.
Yeah, no, and she's on as a U.S. candidate, so she's
on as a U.S. candidate. She has a decorated career, but they never push her. They never push her like they pushed the Horsewoman, or Alexa Bliss, or Carmella, or any other sorry white woman. So yeah, it's a thing, right? Like,
they beat her in every big spot possible.
Yep. Right. I think she's never won at WrestleMania. I think that's still the case. I think she still has not won. I think she's now the reverse Undertaker now. She has taken that from the mantle from Big Show. So yeah, there's
Yikes. That. So I guess we should move on. We'll talk about AEW Dynamite here. I remember overall thinking I didn't really enjoy.
Hold on. Sorry. Gotta look in the notes. Gotta look in the show chat. Do you see that?